Hello, hi, how are you? Welcome to the Tanis Fiber Arts podcast. My name is Tanis. I am a knitwear designer, I am a yarn dyer, I am a YouTuber, and today I'm wearing the new Tanis Fiber Arts t-shirt that Chris, my hubby screen printer designer hubby made. So these are available in the shop for pre-order. This t-shirt looks like an old rock and roll band t-shirt, both in design and then also this specific one is one of my husband's old t-shirts that he screen printed to test out the screens as a sample. So this one is really authentic. You will be receiving a new shirt, not one of my husband's old discarded t-shirts, but it will be the same color, the same look, and available in multiple sizes. Click the link below, go to the website, and see all the details if you're interested in that sort of thing. Yeah, I've mentioned this before, but we sort of specialize in merchandise that really does not reflect our business whatsoever. And I kind of love that. Yeah, I always say, like, if you want a business, a yarn shirt with a sheep on it, the world is your oyster. You've got lots of options. But if you want lightning bolts and a horse on your yarn company shirt, your options are more limited. So we're filling that niche. We're designing t-shirts that we would really wear and buy, and that I'm proud to have my name on. So yeah, Chris does all of these. He's my husband, love of my life. He dyes all the yarn and he does all the graphic work, the design, and he has recently taken up screen printing in the past year or so. And so he did a t-shirt last year. He did something for our Christmas bundle, and then he did this one. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm sort of encouraging him to work on his screen printing a little bit more, to come up with more designs that maybe he always feels like they need to well, I was going to say he feels like they need to relate to Tanis Fiber Arts somehow, but then he does this, so I guess they really don't. At any rate, I'm excited to see where that goes for him because he really is pretty into it. So click the link in the description box for more details about how to get your own Lightning Bolt Horse Tanis Fiber Arts t-shirt. So I almost didn't film a video this week because I felt like I didn't have anything new to tell you. There's the t-shirt, that's new, that's exciting. But I'm trying to be consistent in my showing up here, and I knit every week. So even if all that I have to tell you is today was a slow knitting week, which it wasn't, then I think that's enough. I can always come up with something. Anyway, so today what I've decided to talk about is what I'm currently working on, what I hope to cast on next, and what I just finished, which is something that I haven't shown you guys yet. As a knitwear designer, I'm always working on kind of different things in different phases. I'm quite a monogamous knitter, so I tend to start and finish projects before I start something else. As I'm working on one project, I'm thinking about what I'm going to work on next, because like the worst thing in the world would be to have nothing on my needles. I would not know what to do with myself, but I tend to not cast on one project before I finish the next. I may break that. It's not a rule, it's more my habit. Anyway, but I am working on designs, different aspects of the design while I'm knitting other things. So for example, while I was working on getting the Getty pattern published, which I published last week and I talked all about it last week, this is it, crocheted, saddle shoulder, and the rest is knit. Sidebar, I've added kits to the website for the Getty tee. If you sign up for the newsletter, you already know that. And yeah, they're really cute. So while I was working, I knit the sample, and then there's, weeks and weeks of working on getting the pattern written, getting it tech edited, photographed, formatted, all the other things that I need to do to publish a pattern. And so during that time when I'm working on this pattern, I've got other things on my needles. I have a tank top pattern that is currently with the tech editor. That's getting, that is getting there. I have another tank top pattern that I've already knit 2 samples of, and I think that neither of them are perfect. So I think I'm going to have a third sample before I'm ready to really put the finishing touches on that one. And then what? Well, okay. And then I'll show you the next thing that I have finished knitting and then the thing that I'm about to cast on. So I've been busy. I've mentioned this in the past couple of videos that I am not always like this. I'm not always so prolific, but I've got so much knitting energy at the moment. And so I'm really going with it. So after I finished knitting my Ostara cardigan that has a new to me construction, or a construction that I had not approached as a designer before. It has a really cool construction shoulder detail that I really, really love. And you can go check that out and look at all the pictures if you like, or the video where I talk about it. And I just can't stop thinking about it. So the tank top pattern that is currently with the tech editor, it might be called the Ostara tank because it features the same stitch pattern and same shoulder construction, so it would make sense. It features that shoulder construction. Still in my mind, I've knit 2 t-shirt samples. Okay, this one. This is very Rocket Tee reminiscent, obviously. This doesn't have a name yet. It is mohair and fingering weight yarn, striped, exactly the same as the Rocket Tee with the same I-cord edging details, it's a V-neck, not the exact same, anyway, not the same construction, so really, really similar vibe, but with a totally different construction. So it has that back shoulder seam that I really loved from Ostara, and then the lines, how they doesn't show as well when it's on the hanger. On the body, it's really, really cool. And it's actually, so I knit this, and I'm very excited about it. I would love to know what you think. Is it too much, exactly the same as the Rocket Tee, or does the different construction make it completely different? Because to me, it's completely different. But I would love to know what you think. And then, exact same pattern, I knit another sample. I just took this off my blocking mat this morning. By blocking mat, I mean towel on the floor. I think sometimes people are intimidated by blocking and they think that if you say blocking mat, it sounds like I've got this really like specific special setup. It's a towel on the floor. And carpet. It's not hardwood floor because you wouldn't want to, it is humid. You wouldn't want to mess up your floor. There you go. This is the exact same stitch counts, exact same pattern. Look at that back shoulder. Again, on the body, it's much more impressive, but this I love. I love the way the lines intersect. I'm obsessed with it. So what I did for this one, and people are aware of this with the Rocket Tee, so I hope that people are aware of this with everything. The Rocket Tee, and this that doesn't have a name suggestions always welcome. Even though I've used fingering weight and mohair, the mohair I'm knitting at a fingering weight gauge. The mohair, it's the part of it that's translucent, as you can see. And so it's a fingering weight gauge pattern, okay? And the mohair is knit intentionally at a large gauge to be open and beautiful and translucent and drapey and lovely. If you don't want to use mohair, you can use just fingering. If you want to use just mohair and have super light ethereal, you can also do that. But generally, people tend to ask me the opposite question. Can I knit it with only fingering weight? And yeah, you absolutely can. You could even take a mini skein set. So this mini skein set, okay, I'll run you through what it is. It's by Hello Stella Fibers. And I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 years ago. I'm thinking it was 2 years ago. She had this really cool update where she had paint by numbers kits that she had sourced, and then she had mini skein sets inspired by the paint by number kit. And so I purchased a paint by number kit, and then I purchased 2 of the mini skein sets. And turns out I don't like paint by numbers, but I still painted it. Still cool. It was an experience. But the colors are absolutely stunning. And so there were 8 colors per kit, and this is where I went a little bit funny because it's been in my stash for a couple of years now. I was so happy to use it. I had them all of the skeins, 16 skeins in a bag. One of the skeins was not from the kit. It was one of my own hand-dyed yarns that happens to be on the exact same base. It's this color, pink grapefruit. It was in it, and then a color that I love, this one, that I didn't use in the sample because it had fallen out of the bag. And then there were 2 colors, I can show you. This is where I've been toting this project around in. Two of the colors, a pink and a yellow, that were in the mini skein sets that I ended up not using only because they were as I laid them out, they were too similar to other colors in the kits. Because as I said, I combined two and there was a little bit of overlap, and in the end, so I think I used 15 colors. That's removed 2 from the 16 that I had, added 1, 16, 15. Oh no, I added 3. I removed 3 and I actually added 2. The navy blue at the bottom. That's our midnight colorway on sock yarn. But the rest is from the Hello Stella mini skein sets. And I love how the colors came together. And I love that shoulder detail. And this yarn, it's a Highland wool fingering weight yarn. So it's not a super slick, super shiny merino. It's a bit woollier, I mean, people say rustic. It's not rustic. It just has more fluffy fiberness to it. Do you know what I mean? So to me, it's not something that was super warm weather, screaming summer, okay? The color screams summer, spring, summer. The light airiness of it screams summer, but the actual fiber, it's something that I would want to be wearing in colder months, in fall and winter, something that I would want to layer over things. And so I'm super happy, knit it in long sleeves, and I can wear it in colder months, not only, I mean, you can also, I say that, and then I knit my summer one in Mohair, which is the most, halo fiber you can get. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But basically, as I was knitting with it, it feels so woolly and lovely and squishy, and I'm really pumped about the long sleeves. When it was short sleeves, okay, before I added on the sleeve, because that's the only difference between the two, is I put sleeves on this one, there's no sleeves on the other one. I tried it on obviously before I put the sleeves on, and it looks so great as a t-shirt as well. I just felt in my heart that I wanted to offer a sleeve option for this pattern. So this pattern, I'm going to be writing up, sending to the tech editor. Got a lot on the go, but how fun, right? How fun is that? Look at the colors. I'm so delighted. And something like this, I did not buy these 2 mini skein sets with a project in mind. And I reorganized them. As I say, they were from 2 different sets, and I didn't use every single color in the set. But the way that it came together, I love the sort of mucky colors in the middle here. And like this one's darker, and I feel like it adds like a little bit of tension to the palette. That's something that oh God, and this section I adore, but then I also love how there's this cool toned lilac-y color up here with these hot tones, like the whole thing. I'm really, really happy with that. And you'll see when I have the modeled photos, that back shoulder detail that isn't showing up. Look at that. I mean, can you even? Can you even? I'm obsessed. Name suggestions, welcome. And this is an exciting project for me. So at the moment, I've got a lot of patterns to write up. I have, it's all in progress. It's all happening. I just launched a pattern last week, and like, even though as a designer, you do kind of have to keep pushing stuff out to stay busy, to stay, I don't know, to be there, to be happening. But also, I don't want to do too many in a row, because you just bought my pattern last week. You haven't knit that thing yet. You're not ready to buy another one. You got to give people some time. So anyway, but this is good. I've got a bunch of summer patterns that I hope to launch over the course of the next few months. And yeah, I'm very, very excited about them. I don't know that I'm excited about all of them. I'm really excited about all of them. So as you can see, I mean, I've been knitting fingering weight garments like crazy. I've just been knitting nonstop. I'm just really like staying up late knitting. I'm knitting in the morning. It's amazing. And then the next thing I'm going to cast on, okay, is a Getty Tee inspired garment with no crochet. So here's the thing. Every time I publish I've done it 3 times where I've published, I have 3 hybrid knitting and crochet patterns. And of course, this is to be expected. Publish the pattern and people say, love it, but I don't crochet. Do you have a version where it's all knit? And so for this one, for my other two patterns, the Fleetwood pullover and the Jethro cardigan, I don't really feel like there's a knit equivalent to like an all over granny square cardigan. So those questions are less relevant. But for this one, to do a different, to remove the shoulder crochet squares and do a knitted component is something that I can definitely do. Now, already you can do that. Like I know that there's some people, I've seen some projects on Ravelry, people are making that modification themselves. And I don't think that they necessarily, not everybody needs an entirely new pattern in order to make that modification. And so in order to make a new pattern that is useful, I'm adding a bunch of stuff to it. I think I'm going to do it with two different necklines, both a crew neck and a V-neck, and then I'm going to do it with a long sleeve or a short sleeve. And I think that the knit component on the shoulder, it's not going to be like an exact replica. It's not going to be a granny square in knit form replica. It's just going to be knit and stockinette stitch for several reasons, and the main reason is because that's what I want. So that's what I'm going to do. In the first t-shirt, I'm going to make a t-shirt first. This is DK weight. It'll be a DK weight pattern as well, and I'm going to knit it in Willow DK. So I'm trying to pick the color, and this is where I'm at so far. Originally, I was looking at this velvet colorway, a colorway that I really, really, really love. I love all of our colorways, but I'm trying to picture like what DK weight silk linen t-shirt do I want? Do I want it to be this color? What am I wearing it with? Or do I want it to be white? And then Lily Kate makes, I'm almost positive that's what she goes by. I can link her below. She recently posted a little reel on Instagram where she was like, you think you're not into summer knits. Have you ever tried knitting yourself a white tee? And what's really funny is that was me. I thought that I didn't like summer knits, and then I knit myself a white linen t-shirt. I knit a pattern by Heidi Kiermaier called the Sunset Coast, and it was intended to have long sleeves, but then I tried it on at the point where I was about to put on the sleeves. You finish your garment, you've got the sleeve stitches set aside, and I put it on, and it was such a perfect t-shirt that I just left the sleeves off, and it was white, and it was the game changer for me. It was the gateway to summer knits, and now I knit summer knits just as much as I knit winter knits, I think. Anyways, and so it got me thinking, maybe I just want a white tee. So I'm considering the white. I'm considering the velvet, and because I've put this out there, this makes me think that I will probably end up choosing a third color that I've not even mentioned. Who knows? But I'm going to be knitting an all knit Willow DK, Getty inspired in terms of the construction and fit and style, but not in terms of the shoulder. Yeah. Interesting. So I might cast that on as soon as I pick a color is the thing that's been holding me back. I'm not sure what color I want it to be in, because then I will be knitting another sample with long sleeves and a different neckline. So this is still a little bit of a ways off, but that's what I'm going to be working on next. But I do have something on my needles, of course. And what I'm working on at the moment is a real pickle for me, because I'm going to show you. There are things that I love about it, and there are things that hate is a strong word, okay? I'm knitting. If you recall from past videos, my daughter, this yarn has been sitting here on this dresser that's under our television in the living room for weeks, because my daughter picked out all these colors of pink and purple and blue for me to knit her something. She goes, if you want to make something, there you go. They're there. It's waiting for you. So I decided to knit her a new Floodlight Mini. It's a t-shirt pattern that she has two of them, and she wears them all the time, and she's outgrowing them. So I thought, perfect, I'm going to make her a faded Floodlight Mini. And I started with the color Magique, and this is where I'm like, I don't like the pooling. As I'm holding it up here, you can definitely see there's a spot of blue in the center there. I'm not crazy about it. But when I showed it to her, she loved it. So my question was, do I rip it out and do it again where I alternate, where I use work from the inside and the outside of the skein at the same time? Do I add in another color that I stripe with it to try to break up the variegation? If it was for me, that's probably what I would do. I would rip it out. I would have ripped it out before now, because I saw this happening a while ago. And I would alternate skeins with something else in that magique section. I'd probably try alternating from the same skein, both ends of the skein to begin with, and then and go from there, because that's a good way to break up pooling. And you can sort of see that where I joined in the next color, which is Shapeshifter here, I find, the pooling is gone. Like now it looks great. And Shapeshifter is knitting up, I scrunched up on the needles here, but Shapeshifter is knitting up really beautifully without pooling, and I'm really happy with that. So it's going from pink into this purple multicolor, like a pinky multicolor into a purpley multicolor, and then I guess we'll head into the blue multicolor. I'm thinking, which one? I'm thinking that this will be my next color, and that should be a pretty gradual gradation, and I think that's going to work really well. And I guess the only thing, like the lesson here, is to think about your recipient. When my daughter got home from school and I showed her this, she gasped. Like she absolutely loved it. She wasn't bothered whatsoever by the pooling, and it will not. If she's wearing it, I'm not. Oh shoot, my little stitch stoppers, needle stoppers just fell off, and I almost lost some stitches. Where did they go? All right, here's one. At any rate, she's fine with it. She loves it. She loves the color. She doesn't mind that there's some splotches of blue. Predominantly is the blue that sticks out to me in the yoke. And I was like, should I, she knows what pooling is. I explained it to her, and I'm like, is that a problem for you? And she was like, no, you're crazy. It's beautiful and I love it. So I'm going to leave it. And I'm hoping that when the garment is finished and as a whole, that it's just going to look great. It's very colorful. It's very fun to knit. And I have to say, I haven't knit this pattern, the Floodlight Mini or Floodlight, which is, the same. It's the adult version. I haven't knit it in a couple of years, and I love it. It's a great pattern. It is really simple, really effective. A lot of opportunities for striping, for fading, for doing whatever you want with it. And I love that the neck is going to close. You do an I-cord around the end, and then you do some, it's elongated, and you do a little bow in the back, which is a detail that I think is so cute. And I'm hoping that this ends up being a really cute little piece that she wears a lot. I think she will, because she's really pretty crazy about these colors. And as I say, this is 100% merino. She will wear this. She is my child who is more sensitive to fiber. So I don't think she wouldn't wear it in this. And it's not because it's itchy. It's just that there are more fibers to feel against your skin. I hope that makes sense. I think if you've got experience with wool yarn, hopefully you'll know what I mean. You can feel more movement between the fiber and your skin. And so that is my life in knitting this week. It's working on patterns. It's being excited about my new horse t-shirt. It's doing a fun little project just for my daughter. But of course, one thing leads to another. Where is the other stack? Over here? When I was getting nervous about the yarn pooling and thinking that maybe I wasn't really happy with the selection, the color that I had started with, I started picking other colors. I think that this would be a really pretty little Floodlight Mini also. This is probably enough yardage too. It really, fingering weight, I mean, it really goes far. But how cool is that? Maybe I'll make her another one if I'm not happy with the first one and I feel inspired. But then also, I was going through my stash. I'm supposed to be using leftovers, right? And then I pulled these 2 full skeins. But how good. These are full skeins that I've pulled from, these are one of a kinds, right? They're colors that were dyed and then over dyed because we weren't happy with the original. And then of course they're the best ones. And so then I keep them. And how gorgeous are those? Both of these feel like they were meant. These to me aren't just like oh my goodness, I was going to say a throwaway sock. Socks are not throwaway, but I will knit anything in a sock. This would be so pretty in a garment for my daughter. I should have knit her Floodlight Mini in that. And then this one is actually a cashmere sock yarn. So nice. And that color is so lush. I don't know if you can really get it all, but ooh, look what's happening. Sometimes, for me, I have knit myself, I knit myself a little tank. I can get a tank out of a single skein of sock yarn. And so Maybe that's what one of these. I had a similar color to this that I had saved a skein of that was like precious to me. And then I knit a tank in it. And I felt like it was a really good use for it. Or, of course, they could be striped because look at that. Pretty gorgeous. So, you know, one thing leads to another. I'm knitting something. And I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to put these there. Ooh, I'm just going to put these there. And then, you know, maybe I'm knitting 3 new tops. Who knows? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to stick with hers and then move on to something else. I really want to knit a sock. I don't have a sock on the needles, and I don't know if I just grab a skein of self-striping sock yarn and cast on, or I kind of feel like knitting like something pretty whimsical, like something with a little pattern around the ankle, around under the cuff, you know, like flowers or like butterflies or something fun. I don't know. So maybe I'm gonna think about that, but or just keep knitting floodlight minis for the rest of my life. So I'm 26 minutes in here. I thought I had nothing to say today, but I guess once you start talking about knitting, you just can't stop. So thank you very much. I know well, if you've made it this far, I hope that you've subscribed, and I hope that you like the video, and I will see you next week. God knows what I will have to talk about then, because I talked about everything today. Maybe I'll knit a new top. And have a great weekend, guys. I hope it's sunny wherever you are.